Reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
The shepherds went in haste to Bethlehem and found Mary and Joseph and the infant lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known the message that had been told them about this child. All who heard it were amazed by what had been told them by the shepherds. And Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. Then the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, just as it had been told to them. When 8 days were completed for his circumcision, he was named Jesus, the name given him by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Over the last several weeks, we've been hearing a lot of reviews of the past year in the news and on TV. Many people give their best of the year lists, best movies, best music, best sports moments, and so on. And we also reflect a lot on many passings, family members and friends and famous celebrities who have died during the past 12 months. We consider what the biggest news events have been, the victories, the tragedies, things that made us smile, things that upset us. A common thread running through all of these headlines is something that runs through our personal lives as well. The question of what impact have these people and events had in the lives of others? And how will they affect lives in the future? In other words, what is the legacy that such people and events leave for generations to come? I've been doing a lot of reflecting of the past year about such stories in my personal life as well, the highs and lows of the past year for me and what I hope for the coming year. And I have to say I feel much like Blessed Mary did in today's Gospel, as she saw many wonders unfold before her very own eyes regarding the birth of her son Jesus. As it says here in the Gospel, and Mary kept all of these things and reflected on them in her heart. Well, just as she did, I've seen a lot of amazing, joyful things myself, but I've also had to face a lot of heartbreak and hurtful actions from others, especially in this parish, as she did. We stand to gain nothing from our experiences if we don't take time to reflect on what they mean and how they affect us personally, especially how they impact our relationships with one another. One recent news story that has touched me deeply and has given me much to reflect on, one that's been unfolding for several months, but finally exploded as a media phenomenon about 4 weeks ago, concerns a 41-year-old woman by the name of Cindy Stoll from Austin, Texas, who fulfilled her dream of being a contestant on her favorite TV quiz program, Jeopardy! Now, when Cindy's appearance was taped last August, hardly anyone at that time, except for Alex Trebek and the producers, knew that Cindy had stage 4 cancer. Ironically, Cindy never saw herself on TV for Jeopardy! Because when it finally aired on December 12th, she had been dead for a week. However, as her story broke in the news and people watched Cindy's TV appearance, she ended up winning on 6 episodes, racking up over $105,000. And what made that winning more profound was that she had declared back in August after the tapings her desire to donate all her winnings to cancer research, as she hoped that no one would have to suffer from cancer as she did. Cindy had no idea what impact her actions would have. Yet her appearance deeply touched millions of people around our nation. Many were quite inspired by her final gift to make gifts of their own, as her family asked people to donate to cancer research in her name and honor. And although there's much more to Cindy's life than just her game show victory, as her family and friends would attest to that, this final act is the exclamation point on Cindy's legacy of 41 years. We can only imagine all the good that will come from her final parting gift. A friend of Cindy's by the name of Jim Garrity wrote his own reflection for the National Review on her legacy and her Final Jeopardy appearances. And he shared what lessons her example teaches us as we go on together into 2017. And 3 lessons stand out from his online article. I'd like to share them with you. Firstly, make the most of your time here on earth, knowing that it is more limited than you think. Secondly, there's more to a person's life than what the public may know or see, and don't think we know all there is about a person based on that public knowledge. And thirdly, let your loved ones know that they are loved while you still have the chance. Or as Jim Garrity put it in his article, and I quote him here, the option of that next phone call, letter, or visit can slip away without much warning. End quote. Today's feast day, honoring Mary as the Mother of God, is like a special love letter from heaven, reminding us of how much you and I are loved. And not just by Mary, who is our mother too, but by her Son Jesus, who is God made flesh. Now, we don't know all the specifics about Mary's life, since very little is recorded about her in the Bible, but thousands of books have been written over the centuries to reflect on her one main legacy that will always stand out: her faithful, motherly love. No other mother can love us more. And that kind of love should inspire us to love more too. When Mary accepted the angel Gabriel's invitation and embraced the gift of Jesus in her life, she had no idea how her life would unfold from that point on, or how her decision would affect the lives of every human being in the future. She simply placed her trust completely into God's hands, strongly believing that God would always guide her through whatever joys and sorrows awaited her on her road of life. And she also constantly thanked God for the blessings God sent her way. That's all part of Mary's loving legacy. Her one main desire for all of us is to develop our own legacy of faithful love, as guided by her Son in the light of his truth. She hopes that our individual legacy will inspire and influence people's lives to be more faithful too, through our example that shines. And the best way that we can live out that kind of legacy is to remain closer to her Son than anyone else in our daily living. How do we do that? Pray to him daily, listening more than speaking, and receive often the gifts that Jesus gives us of the sacraments in his church, coming to Mass every week or more, and going to frequent confession. Care more about others than ourselves, through giving more of the blessings we have from God for others' benefit, not for our own. And finally, as today's gospel indicates, reflect constantly on how God calls us to live anew, especially in how we deal with other people on a daily basis. And be assured that Mary will help us to do that through her constantly praying for all of us from her heavenly home. In closing, I hope that you'll do some quality reflecting, as Mary always did, about what God is trying to do in your own life, especially with the new year upon us, full of possibilities for you personally and for our world. Hopefully it's a more peaceful world in 2017. Over the next couple of days, I hope that you will take time to reflect on 3 main questions. Number 1, what have been the greatest blessings you've received from God over the past year? Number 2, what are your biggest hopes for 2017? And number 3, how might you share God's love and peace better to other people in this new year? For just as Cindy Stoll did on the TV game show, be well prepared for whenever your final Jeopardy question comes in life. One that God himself will ask you, not Alex Trebek. And hopefully, you will be able to give the right, faithful, loving answer, just as Mother Mary did, that unlocks the door to the riches of God's heavenly kingdom for all eternity. Happy New Year.